Dear friends, welcome to my channel Education and Career Success. It is the story of Alexander the Great about 2300 years ago. Alexander, the son of Macedonian King Philip. When he was 20 years old, his father Philip was assassinated by his own bodyguards. Alexander became the king of Greek kingdom of Macedonia. He continued the legacy of his father. Alexander wanted to fulfill lifetime ambition of his father to defeat the Persia. Persia was age-old enemy of Greece. Just at the age of 16 years old, he proved his mighty power and united the Greeks and Macedonians under his leadership. Alexander began his war with Persia, which lasted more than 7 years. At last, he defeated the Persian king Darius III at the Battle of Issus. Through this victory, he extended the boundaries of Macedonian kingdom into vast empire. Under the delusion of grandeur and glory of victory, Alexander started conquering each land, each boundary, and each kingdom one by one. He was a great conqueror. He was a conqueror of land and sea, rivers and mountains, and kingdoms. He gained control of a number of Greek cities in Asia. He never lost a single battle in his entire life. He spent most of his time conquering by means of killing. In a remarkably short period of time, he created one of the largest empires of the ancient world, stretching from Greece to India. He established the biggest military campaign. He was not an ordinary man. He used to expose himself to dangers. As Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act but a habit. Alexander was gifted with versatile, well-organized, well-disciplined army. Anyway, this credit goes to his father Philip. By imposing rigorous discipline, Alexander trained his army in such a way that at any time they were ready to die, they were ready to take pride in royal burial. As a commander, he set the example of excellence. He was simply fearless. He was also fearless in battle. He had complete faith in his ability. He inspired the same level of ability in his team. He brings out the inborn strength in each and every soldier and transforms them as fighting machines. Alexander had the talent of leading the army from the front. He launched massive invasions. No matter how far the battle, he was always leading the army from the front with other soldiers. In all the battles he participated, he was always stood among the army. He ate the same food as army eat. He took the same sleep as army do, and equal share of dangers and hardships. He invested most of his ruling years molding the soldiers, training the army troops. By initiating the strict code of conduct with intense military training, he persuaded them to follow the dangerous enterprises. He initiated a series of military reforms. He always inspired the army to sacrifice for the sake of country and leave behind an immortal glory after their death. He gave royal burials to those who lost in the battle. He created the spirit of victory even before the battle. He used to invest most of his wealth to maintain army. He exposed himself to impossible battles, even some battles without shedding blood. In some battles he miraculously escaped. In some battles he was almost killed. Yet he was fearless and reckless. He was delightful to live a life of valor. He created toughest soldiers to face the hardest battles. His strategy of war, his bravery, and his fearless attitude, and his defensive techniques, and his victory after victory astonished the greatest emperors like Napoleon. Under the leadership of Alexander, Macedonian army accustomed to victory and life-threatening challenges. The life of Alexander was fascinating to so many historians and great emperors like Julius Caesar. His career of conquest inspired not just Julius Caesar but also Augustus, Mark Antony, Napoleon, Hitler, and other world conquerors from the West. Alexander was inspiring leader to millions of military commanders. As a commander, he set the example of excellence. Rule like Alexander, fight like Alexander, Alexander the Great became the slogan of the time. His ambition knows no bounds. He was power hungry. He thought Macedonia was too small for him. When greed is more, sufferings are endless. Alexander became restless, ruthless, and peaceless in pursuit of his dream. He continuously fought over a span of 15 years. At last, he proudly declared that his control over Egypt, Syria, Palestine, Mesopotamia, Babylonia, and Persia. He claimed the immense wealth of Lydia, treasures of Persia and Outer Sea. He took pride in the glory of victory. He found happiness in amassing great wealth, yet he was not satisfied. His motto was to rule the world. His dream was that is one world, one king, that is King of Alexander. He invited the cultural exchange between the East and West. His mission was to spread Greek culture all over the world. He created a vast empire inhabited by people of different cultures and religions, different ethnicities, different lifestyles and languages, different customs and habits. Alexander became one among them by adapting their customs and practices for betterment of all people. He was a great soldier, great emperor, and a great disciple of Aristotle. Vast empire was his dream. To build vast empire, he rejected peace offers so many times. He tolerated no opposition. He systematically eliminated all the potential rivals who questioned his supremacy. To establish authority in his own kingdom, he crushed the rebels of independence. One of the greatest achievements of Alexander is, in the span of 15 years of war, he never lost a single battle. Just at the age of 22, he occupied Turkey, and at the age of 25, he defeated the age-old enemy, Persia. Under his leadership, Macedonia became the leading power on the Greek mainland. Alexander was a man of tremendous courage and unquestioned confidence in his ability. He strongly believed that nothing is impossible to him who will try. He was undefeated. Defeat was a term unknown to Alexander. His vision was self-centered, to conquer the world. He strongly believed that when you conquer your fear, then you conquer the world. Alexander adopted the belief system of a lion. It doesn't matter the size of your army is great or small, but it is your belief system that makes a big difference in your victory or failure. Alexander was grown up with such a belief system since his childhood. With such a belief system, he terrified the greatest emperors of the time. With such a belief system, he conquered the mighty Persian Empire with just little soldiers. With such a belief system, he started conquering each land, each boundary, each kingdom one by one. With such a belief system, he extended the boundaries of his empire from Greece to Pakistan. The quality of his leadership can be known by this quote: "I am not afraid of an army of lions led by sheep, but I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion." He further said, "There is nothing impossible to him who will try." Alexander was gifted with great intelligence, great maturity, great courage, great analysis, and great army. His achievements and accomplishments gave him the title Alexander the Great. No doubt, Alexander is great, but his style of leadership and his mighty sword is a curse to humanity. The art of war is great, but the art of peace is greatest.